Okay, so I'm just going to put forward some of my ideas about consonance and dissonance. It's not everything. There's many other different viewpoints and different ways of looking at it. But this is just some kind of basic ideas about what is consonance, what is dissonance, and can we open our ears up to hearing this stuff in a different way. So let's have a look at what actually they are. So if we think of maybe a C major chord, we think of those three chords as quite consonant and quite normal sounding. And if we play some random notes, then we could call that a dissonance. But let's just think about that. Let's sort of look at the kind of logic behind that. So there's a reason why C major is so common, that kind of sound appears in music all over the world, is because it's part of the harmonic series, which if we look at a guitar, we get the harmonics, that gives us the octave, the fifth, the octave, the major third, and so on. And if we keep going, we do get more or less the major scale. Okay, and from that we can get our nice C major chord. So that's the kind of logic where that tonality has come from. But if we look at that scale, if we imagine that's 8 leaves falling from the tree in autumn, we can enjoy each. We watch them separately as they fall separately. Now, but what would happen is if all the leaves fell at once? That's a different sound, isn't it? So that we could call that a dissonance. But why is that a dissonance? It's the same notes. It's exactly the same, but our ears hear it as all at once, and our ears get confused. It can't separate each of those sounds. So if you imagine those 8 leaves, they all fell at once, our eye might catch one of the leaves that stood out, or we could look at one in turn. So it's the way our brain sort of works, isn't it? We can't overload too much. Okay, so but let's have a look at that. So we've got that sound of those 8 notes together. What if we played those same notes but separated them out as in major thirds, or thirds rather? There we've got a nice C major 7 chord. Well, what if we extended that? Actually sounds quite nice, doesn't it? But that is exactly the same notes as that, but we've just spread them out in a different way. Oh, I can't reach. Then we do it in fourths. That's the sort of McCoy Tyner kind of jazzy kind of harmony, which sounds great, but that's using fourths, so that's a slightly more edgy kind of sound, but I'm only using those notes in a C major scale, just using them in a different way. We can see, that kind of sort of Debussy way of kind of extending our chords to the 9th and the 11th and the 13ths. That makes it kind of more acceptable for our ear. Okay, so that's part 1. Part 2 coming up soon. See you later, don't go away.